Hens are not chickens. They're hens. They're girl chickens. That's the only thing I'm talking about here.
Can
And
Move
Mr.
on.
Mayor, I don't want to take too much of the council's time. I just think that because they're a part of the Caribbean culture,
Okay.
and the culture is here,
Uh-huh.
and sooner or later, you're going to have chickens and roosters, and you don't want the roosters. So what I'm saying is be proactive. As long as you're changing the code, and when I
Okay.
read this, I thought everything's coming together at one time. We'll be changing the code,
Okay.
because we had plenty of rooster cases when I was on the code board. And they are a nuisance. They make noise, is what I'm
Okay.
saying. They disturb your quiet enjoyment. May I go on, sir?
Sure, you may proceed.
Okay. The next is Wi-Fi. I got the idea from Miami Beach, Surfside, and others. Panera Bread's a hot spot. Denny's is a hot spot. Burger King is a hot spot. Most of Arcade Shopping Center is a hot spot. And the wave of the internet is not the future. It, again, is the wave of now. A node is good for about 3 miles. That's why item 2 is North Miami providing Wi-Fi within a 3-mile radius from City Hall. 3 miles from City Hall is past Panera Bread. It's past the White House Inn on the east. I don't know how far to the west would go, but probably Men's 30 blocks. Somebody probably has GPS here. Anyway, I would like, with the council's permission, to introduce Erskine R. Curry, who is chairman and CEO of EC BizNet, Inc. You can find him at ecbiznet.org. He is a friend, an acquaintance, an associate of mine. He is Bahamian descendant with early roots here in North Miami. He is affiliated with the United Nations Global Compact Program, and he's a stakeholder in CANTO, which is an anagram for the Caribbean Association of National Telephone Operators. He's an emerging technologist, and I find him to be a broadband initiative. And if you would give me 3 to 5 minutes, I would like to introduce you Erskine R. Curry. Mr. Curry? May it please the Mayor Council.
Sure.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members, and residents of North Miami. When Douglas asked me to come here, I thought it was a good idea. And I thought it was a good idea because when you mention the word broadband and Wi-Fi, everybody gets excited about that. In Miami, there are some hot spots, as he mentioned. Panera's, Burger King, all of those spots, they are frequent with aggressive business people who are using those facilities to advance themselves economically. There is a greater buzz going on with Wi-Fi in the world, not just in North Miami, but in the world. We can go as far as the Millennium Development Goal, where there are very aggressive initiatives on the table right now that we don't seem to be taking advantage of here in North Miami. There is also a U.S. broadband initiative to bring broadband to the people, to allow the use of broadband and the access of broadband technology to the common person. What broadband does is this. Broadband empowers you. It empowers you to engage yourself in an interactive way that brick and mortar businesses doesn't. This council meeting that's going on here today would be much more effective, it would be much more interactive if this was actually going out to people as they're riding around in North Miami and they can have access to it on their smartphones. That's not happening right now. A lot of access that should be out there isn't happening. I'm not going to take a long time to explain all of the ramifications and the benefits of broadband, but what I would like to say is that from the time I sat with Douglas initially and we talk about this concept of bringing Wi-Fi to North Miami, my company would like to present to this city a broadband initiative that involves the city and the private sector. And we'd like to lead that, if you would permit that, to bring free broadband to the people of North Miami. There's ample opportunities to do so. We have the resources, we have the interest, and we have the technology. And I like to say that if the technology exists, we can do it. In the old saying that, build it and they will come, and I like to add to that, that if they don't come, we have the technology to take it to them. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and thank you so much, Douglas. Mr. City Manager, I mean, is there something going on with your department or with IT? I mean, what are we doing in terms of extended Wi-Fi to our residents?
Mayor, one of the initiatives I think that you had pressed upon was that we increase our Wi-Fi opportunities. We did do so at the North Miami Library. Our IT director has been directed to seek other opportunities for providing Wi-Fi citywide, not just beyond 3 miles beyond City Hall. And so those initiatives are being looked into. There is a total revamping situation that he's doing with our IT department, and providing free Wi-Fi is incorporated into that. One of the things that we started with the library was to get a user agreement. So now that we have that agreement, our city attorney went through the initiative of looking at that so that when people do sign on, there is an agreement that they have to go through. That was the initial step. Now that that's in place, we will move forward into providing that citywide. We don't want to, although the gentleman is making an offer to make a presentation, we don't want to sit down with a particular company, because this may be something that has to go out to an RFP process. Although it may be free, that may be the case, but the reason why it has to go out, if we do go that way, into an RFP process, because there is potential revenue generating opportunities for the city when we do offer free Wi-Fi. So this is an initiative we are looking at, but we don't want to lock ourselves in to looking at one particular company.
Okay, thank you. Diego said, stay connected with the city. You'll get a chance to hear what we're doing, and you can put a proposal when that becomes a reality. Okay. Citizen Forum is now open. Okay. Here you go, Citizen Forum.
Perfect. Hi, Joseph Haber, 2096 Alameda Drive, Keystone Point. Being in telecommunications and IT for the last 20 years, as an expert and an entrepreneur, I could definitely say that a wireless initiative is a key business development issue for the city, but it can also be an educational issue. There's multiple platforms that this crosses. It's definitely a great idea to discuss this, open it up, and take this to the people if the city can afford it. And there are serious financial issues that need to be addressed with this. I don't know if you're familiar with what happened in Hollywood when they tried to do a Wi-Fi system, and not only did it cost them money, it didn't happen, and their Wi-Fi towers are interfering now with people's home networks, and they're broadcasting nothing. So there are a lot of technical issues, and I would encourage you to take this seriously before you jump into anything, and seek out the expertise, not necessarily myself, but of the people that you rely on. All right? Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Terry Dellerson, Bayview Lane. I attended last week Councilman Galvin's meeting, which was a tremendous group that he put together. About 120 people attended, and one of the issues was the city receiving $17.5 million and how to spend it. I'm surprised that wasn't addressed tonight. We were kind of led to believe that would be a topic of discussion, but there was a gentleman who spoke up, and what he recommended was that $17.5 million be invested in some type of bond or fund which could generate anywhere between 7 and 9%. The city would realize between $700,000 and $1 million a year, and that should be spent, not the principal. This is pretty much maybe a one-time opportunity for the city, and you shouldn't have a lotto winner mentality that let's spend everything now that we've always wanted. but to take this slow, invest it carefully, and make it last.
Thank you.
Carol Keys, 12550 Palm Road. I believe in another week or so we're going to have our budget meetings. Mr. Manager, if you look at the website of North Miami Beach, their budget is a PDF online. It would be really appreciated, since it is so costly now that we have a budget crunch, that we're not giving paper copies of the budgets out. If you could provide that online on the website in plenty of time so people could look at it before your first budget meeting. Also, looking on their website, you talk about Wi-Fi. Right now, I could click a button and I could be watching the City of North Miami Beach's council meeting right now. Their meetings are live and they are immediately put on their website, so anything you want, you can watch a video of it the next afternoon. And while citywide Wi-Fi is very ambitious, I'd like to see us just start small and let's get something. I've been asking for this for a while. I sent something, I've been speaking to our clerk, that we should have Wi-Fi in our building, so people coming to our building to do business at least have access around Mocha, the police station here, at least have access to the Wi-Fi. And I would, again, since a lot of people, like myself, either cannot afford cable TV or just don't have it because I use something else, to please stream these meetings and make them available for people. And let's get some transparency out here so people know what's going on. Thank you.
Mayor and Council and City Manager, thank you for the general employees who are here tonight. We are representing the general employees of the City of North Miami, who collectively in your audience represent over hundreds of years of devoted service to the city. I am Sharon Plotkin, and I represent the president of the White Collar Association for the IUPA, and this is Gary Beswick, who is the vice president. All of your board members are present here this evening from both the blue and the white collar professional union representation for the city. We are here tonight, not to negotiate with the council or to offer any new proposals. We are here actually to seek your support in the proposals that are currently in place that IUPA has asked when we have been at the bargaining table negotiating with the city. As it stands, in April of 2010, your general employees in North Miami took a large hit and reduction in their salaries to continue to work here in the city. What we asked for was to be returned to where we were in April of 2010. We have made a large number of sacrifices in order to stay in the last few years. And because of these sacrifices, the city was able to balance its budget on the backs of your general employees. In April of 2010, the city said that we were going to have our base salary reduced by 5%, which we did. The general employees were also subjected to unpaid furlough days, which we've taken 12 a year since April of 2010, and our longevity pay was taken away from us with no longevity plan put into place for its employees, for its general employees. The reduction in longevity pay alone amounted to almost 10% of an additional decrease in the salary of your employees that stayed. During this time, the general employees did not receive a COLA. We did not receive merit increases as well. The lack of COLA and merit increases and longevity for almost 2.5 years has put us as general employees much further behind. The difference that the city proposal has on the current longevity plan that you all have proposed, as opposed to what we have asked for, which is the longevity plan to be returned to where it was in April of 2010, is the difference of 0.25% of your city budget. 0.25% is the difference that we are having between the two longevity plans. The IUPA and the city last proposals on pay negotiation sessions during August 9th of 2010, we all agreed on a number of issues, including returning the non-police employees' base to the previous rate, a bonus, and IUPA agreed to continue for up to 6 furlough days a year. We've accepted that. The only significant difference was that we wanted our old longevity pay back. Again, we are talking about 1/4% of the city's budget. That is all that it amounted to, and that was the numbers the city provided to us. That was not what we generated. However, the city's proposal on this longevity is that it will not be returned to its employees, that it was taken away in April of 2010. And for many of us, this longevity pay is significantly lower that you are proposing to us than that was taken away in April of 2010. Again, I remind all of us that we are talking about 1/4%, just 1/4%, based on the city's current budget. Under the city's proposal next year, many employees will be still as low as 10% below where we were in April of 2010. Even when the lump sum longevity goes into place in October of 2013, the city is still asking its general employees to wait another year. Another year. We are being asked to, again, suffer the consequences of staying. And that's what it comes to, that we have stayed to take the hit that we have. And we will be paid as much as less as 5% of this that we were in April of 2010. Again, the difference, I've said it, 1/4% is all that is existing between the current longevity plan the city has in place to what we have proposed, which is return us back to the longevity plan from April of 2010. And as Council Member Mr. Blinn mentioned so eloquently, the city is at an 18.5, quote, anti-deficit. And you all can't give that to us? We believe, as we are all here tonight, as blue and white collar general employees together, who stayed despite the cuts and the sacrifices that we've made to continue to show loyalty to this city and give a lot of hard work to be here. And according to Councilwoman Sterrell, who said it very, very well, while you all slept safely in your homes during the hurricane, it was, or the tropical storm Isaac, it was your general employees who went out there and cleaned up the roads, picked up or notified about power lines, made sure the roads were clear for its citizens, provided assistance for victims that were in distress, and provided the calls to dispatch. The dispatchers provided calls to keep our officers safe on the streets so the citizens could remain safely in their homes. Please, as council, support our proposal. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, members of council again. I'm here to talk about something that was conveniently taken off the menu this evening, the novella concert that you were planning to spend. First of all, I'd like to say that's $240,000 that you could be putting right in that woman's pocket and her other employees. That is $240,000 that could be spent on more iPads for the woman for the library to get more literacy involved and more education in the city. That is $240,000 that can go to helping people maintain their homes that you want so badly, to beautify our city that you want so badly, and to keep us in that top 10 that you were referring to earlier in the meeting. Furthermore, you're catering to one specific asset of this community, which personally I find offensive. I don't see you sponsoring an Italian-American carnival. I don't see you doing anything for the Irish contingency or the Spanish contingency of our community, or for that matter, the African-American contingency of our community. You want to have a concert specified for one specific group that is only 1% of our city. It is not representative of all of us. And I think it is not a fair way to spend that $17.5 million that you received from the Biscayne landings. I think you can do a lot better than throwing a party. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Susan Blumen, 1865 Northeast 117th Road, North Miami, Florida, where I live with my husband, 2 dogs, and I also work in the city of North Miami. I look forward to seeing the city of North Miami continue to prosper and to be the great city that we can be. I'm president of the board of directors of San Souci Gated Homeowners Association. Excuse me, I have a cold, so I'm having a little trouble talking here, but I'll do it. We recently met and discussed the issue of the $17.5 million windfall, and we unanimously agreed at this point to ask you to please be fiscally responsible to the residents of North Miami, all of the residents. Not spend the money without a fiscal plan, a business plan in place, the same type of business plan that we try to do as families. If we get a windfall, if we spend it all, it's gone. At the end of the day, there's nothing left. If you invest this money, just for the time being, in an interest-bearing account, take the time to really look at what your city needs, what our city needs, and not run willy-nilly to spend it because it's there and wow, we've got this money to spend. It just seems like that's a better approach. You can spend the interest, but leave the principal until you have a really good business plan on what you want to do with it. I hope that you will really take this into consideration. There are many, many residents that feel the way I do, feel the way the board does, and it's not telling you what to do with the money, but it's telling you simply to take your time, invest it for now, and make a really good business plan based on advice of people that can be of benefit to the city. Thank you.
Good evening, Carol Prager, 2509 Northeast 135th Street. A lot of conversation this evening about Wi-Fi and streaming live and putting items on our website for the citizens to access. I'd like to once again ask the council, could you please do something about the microphones on your dais? Not only can you not hear them in this room, when you watch a replay of the council meetings on the television, you cannot, you just can't do it. One person's microphone is louder than another individual's microphone, and so while you're all taking your turns to talk, you've got your remote in your hand going up and down on the volume because Mr. Blinn is yelling, but we can't hear the mayor. So please do something about the microphones because the citizens have, no way of understanding half of what you're saying. I also agree with all the prior speakers about the very good fortune that the city of North Miami is in with the financial windfall that we are experiencing from Biscayne Landing. Everyone in this room, everyone in this country understands that we are in economic dire straits. We're very, very fortunate to have something that we can fall back on that probably any other municipality in this country would most likely want for themselves. We can't go crazy with this. We have to understand that what brought us to this point in time in our country, in our economy in this country, is going to take an equal amount of time to get out. And so if we have this kind of money in the bank, and we have a reserve, and we can somehow grow that money so that we can go the distance while everything turns around again. That's what your job is. Your job is to protect the citizens of North Miami. You do that by being fiduciarily responsible. You do that by being financially responsible. That's your job. Your job is not to decide what's best for us. Your job is to listen to the citizens, to understand what's in the best interest of the citizens, and act in the best interest of the citizens. And it's my personal opinion that you be very, very conservative with this money. On another note, if I may, Mr. Mayor, to the city manager, we now have sanitation pickup in the city, in my particular neighborhood, at least 6 days a week, perhaps 7. The city used to pick up twice a week. Now they're picking up 3 times a week. There are other sanitation companies in my neighborhood for the condominiums, and so there is a multitude of different companies. These trucks are hauling butt down this street. All right? It's not even funny. And I don't want to have to pick up the phone and make a phone call to the police department while the truck is already in Hialeah by the time, my phone call is completed. We also have school buses now starting to run again through our neighborhood as well as throughout the entire city. Some of them are also private. A great many of them are public. They are also driving very fast. It takes a lot to stop a vehicle of that size. Now, there are children out at that hour when these garbage trucks are coming down the street, and God forbid. All right, they will not be able to stop. I don't even know what possesses a bus driver to drive that fast. But I'm sure there's monitors on the public buses that you might want to check into to make sure that they can monitor that their drivers are driving the proper speed limit. And then the private companies that are in our city picking up children, I think, Mr. Manager, you should be identifying also for a whole host of reasons. So if you could maybe perhaps look into some type of, opportunity to have somebody check into all of these things and make sure that they're doing the proper speed limit, not only in my neighborhood, but throughout the city. The other thing I'd like to ask the manager, we have a home in foreclosure. I do not know who owns the home. A bank, I'm sure, owns it, but right now the home is going into disrepair. On the back of the home, it has a deck, and on that deck is broken down furniture. There's a pool there that accumulates water all the time. I'm sure it's a health hazard. In the front, a car was left. It was a derelict car. As of yesterday, it miraculously disappeared, but it had been there for 2 months. The front of the unit is also overgrown to where the landscaping is now into the driveway. So if I can give you that address, sir, I don't know what your process is, but something has to be done, because obviously, I don't know if code's been on it, but nothing has been done, and it's just getting worse.
Carol, if I'm sorry to interject, it is going before the code magistrate on September the 5th, and thanks to the city attorney, we've been in contact with the bank, working diligently. It didn't mysteriously disappear. The city's bringing some
All right.
pressure.
Well, you've got rats now, and I mean,
Okay.
there's all kinds of things living in this landscaping.
All right.
I also have a convenience store in our neighborhood, Mr. Johnson, and the south side of this convenience store now has a complete covering on their windows of Michelob beer or something of that nature. The front of this store does not, but the side of it does. And if a police officer is called for any kind of incident, they will not be able to see in the side of that convenience store. And I do believe there's a lot more on the front of that store than there was in the past, and I think that needs to be looked at. And in closing, and I'm sorry that my citizens forum is a host of complaints, but
It's okay, we haven't seen you in a while.
but this has been going on for a couple of months, and so, I'm here now. We have a bike path, and our bike path is being used as parking spaces. In particular, there's one building which I will not name publicly, but not only do they double park in front of this building, they are triple parking in front of this building. So now we have cars in the bike path. We also have cars that are parking perpendicular to the street because this parallel space that they would normally fit in is too small for them, and so they're going in sideways now. So either the front of the car is in the bike path or the rear of the car is up on the sidewalk. And this, again, has been going on for a couple of months. And as one person does it, multiple people do it. So I'm just bringing it to your attention, sir, and I appreciate it. Mr. Mayor, Council, and Mr. Manager, if you could have somebody look at this, I would appreciate it. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Cal.
Esther Blinn, 1990 Northeast 118th Road. I'm part of the board of the San Souci Homeowners Association and concur, of course, with the president, Susie Blumen, who spoke about our desire for you to be fiscally responsible and take things slowly. One thing I would suggest that you add into your budget, Mr. Manager and Mayor and Council, is a provision for grant writers to be placed on board. We became a Playful City USA thanks to the hard work of the city staff and the promotion by council members to have that designation. That makes us eligible for grants, federal grants, National League of Cities grants, Florida League of Cities grants for parks. There have been several park programs proposed for all of the parks throughout the city. I see the manager is nodding his head, including and most particularly promoted by one of the council members to whom I'm related regarding...
We are not related.
Yes. I'm not related to you, Scott. I'm sorry.
I know you meant Marcel.
Yes, absolutely. We're all brothers and sisters. So, however, I have one spouse only.
Okay, I thought you were about to tell me Michael was your brother. So
No. And he, I know, proposed installing not only updated playground equipment for children, but exercise equipment for seniors, that is outdoor exercise equipment. Bonnie Clearwater has already agreed to rotate sculptures instead of art in public places throughout the parks. And there are some parcels of land which are of no use except for perhaps a park. There are institutions such as banks and businesses that are desirous of participating in a community advisory board to sponsor some of these parks. So I urge you, because I know that Miguel is alone many of the times in seeking out grants and writing grants, and he's only one person. So I urge you to include that in your budget. And certainly, even if you invested the money and lived off the interest, you could certainly hire grant writers. Not only that, grant writers often will take a certain low salary and then a percentage of the grant monies that they generate by writing successful grants. And for a city of our progression, to not have a series of grant writers is really not a good idea. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else wishes to be heard? Hearing none, public hearing is not closed. Citizen forum is not closed. Councilman Galvin, any reports from you?
Sure. A lot of people have mentioned the town hall meeting that I hosted last week, and I just want to say a big thank you to everybody who attended. And it continues to amaze me, the power of the internet. There was no media story written ahead of time. There was no, staff people sitting over here to the side making flyers and making phone calls. Just a couple of emails and Facebook posts, and there easily were over 120 people there, probably a little more. So I say thank you to the concerned residents who came out to talk about Biscayne Landing, the money that we've just gotten, some outstanding ideas that came out of the discussion. Thank you to Karen Tuvia, the owner of Alaska Coffee Roasting Shop. She served as the host for the event. I didn't want to do it at Margolis again. That place is just sort of ugly and sterile at this point, and just not. I thought it was a lot more fun to do it at the coffee house. So thank you to all of you who came out to do that, and there will be more follow-up, obviously. I think there'll probably be some more public workshops talking about where and how the money might get spent, but thank you to all of you. Secondarily, there are some moves afoot in Hialeah and a couple of other cities to enact new legislation addressing ballot fraud. I'd like North Miami to watch very closely. I know I will be watching closely the legislation that they come up with to deal with that, and whether we are going to advocate for our state legislators to pass for new rules, like requiring a witness signature on absentee ballots, or we're going to do like the city of Miami Lakes is doing, or Miami Lakes, and pay for the postage for absentee ballots so nobody feels the need to give their ballot to a broker to deliver for them. Let's watch and see, because if we can either join what they're doing or even lead the way in new ways of combating absentee ballot fraud, I think North Miami would be looked at even more highly. Luckily, we've never had any of those incidents come to our city. So just a heads up, let's please all keep an eye on that. Otherwise, that's all I've got tonight. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councilman Lynn?
A year ago, I sat here very embarrassed that the city had a $6 million deficit. Now, a year later, I'm elated that we have an $18 million non-deficit. We are in a position that is the envy of the 410 cities in the state of Florida. I announced our position at the League of Cities. I'm on the board of directors, and I got a big ovation. I'll be frank with you, I don't think any other city in the state of Florida has done as well as us in the last 1 year. I want to preserve that money. I don't see any reason to spend it, Mr. City Manager. I cannot help thinking that you have managed to reduce our deficit without the $17 million because of the red light cameras and the sale of the equipment from the utility department and other monies from Biscayne Landings. And I spoke to Michael Cirolo today. He thinks he'll have something on there in 2 years will help contribute to our income. I want to save that money. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to spend a penny of it. It could go into maybe 3 or 4% in today's market and produce as much as $750,000 a year, Mr. City Manager, which is a considerable amount of money. And I want to tell you that's my position. The other thing is I'm very distressed about the Gentlemen's Club. I think it's going to be an embarrassment to the city. That remains to be seen. It'll be functioning one of these days. I don't want to think that it's going to cost us money to arrest people, commit crimes, that could come from drunken individuals watching nude women dance all night. I mean, that's what it really comes to. It's not a gentleman's club. As far as I'm concerned, it's a nudie bar. But it will be involved in the city now and until we can close it down. On the other hand, it might very well be behind closed doors. It's going to be soundproof. We might not hear anything about it, nor will ever crime will ever created by it. I don't know what the case would be, but we have to watch and see. And that's what I'm concerned about. And anyone else has any interest in improving the city, because we found out from Scott's meeting, and he had an excellent meeting, over 100 people showed up, and thank you very much, Scott, for that meeting, that we were interested in 3 things in the city. They wanted to create a better library, which maybe more computers should be installed in the library. They wanted better landscaping in the city, and they wanted to improve some of the parks, including the one on Biscayne Boulevard, create a park, buy some land. Well, that's not a feasible thing. But there is land to be purchased over the years, Mr. City Manager, that we should look into to buy a park, because we don't have enough parks in the city. If you take away the large park we have at 163rd Street, we were actually underparked, if there is such a word. So if we have to use money from that $750,000 or $800,000, that's just the interest, ladies and gentlemen. Don't want to spend a penny of that money. Maybe we should look into creating another park. And also the park on Biscayne Bay at 123rd Street has to be improved. That has great potential. We can have even boats leaving and coming in. We can have rental property there with a boat company. It's a beautiful park. It's the only access the public really has to the bay, and that should really be improved. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vice Mayor.
Yes, I just want to congratulate the city manager and his staff for the coordinations or the way they prepare for the tropical storm Isaac. And really, it was a tremendous effort and the way they organized this thing. And I was on the street very early, and when I stopped by the city hall, and that was amazing. And really, I think that effort does show we have some people that cares and some professional levels that really amazing. And I really want to congratulate you. And like we say, we prepare for the worst, but we expect the best. And fortunately, we get the best out of it. And I must say thank you very much. That's it, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Just a few reports quickly. Again, today we visited 9 schools. We gave out about 25 book bags filled with supplies. Thank you to the North Miami Police Department, Councilwoman Steriel, along with the city staff that were there with us. We did 9 schools today, and tomorrow we are doing the remainder of the schools. There were a few schools that we missed on Monday, and we are going back to the schools. And this is not about just giving book bags with supplies. This is about having an opportunity to let the teachers, the administration, the principal, along with the students and the parents know that the city of North Miami, how serious the city is in taking education to the next level. And I think, it's very important for us to do that in our schools. And we so far completed that part of it, and we would be doing the rest of it tomorrow morning. Secondly, the back to school bash we had at the Joe Salliston Community Center. It was a huge success. Thank you, Mr. Manager, along with your staff and all the sponsors that came forward to make sure that we were able to provide 2,500 book bags to families that were in needs. And in addition to that, I think there were about 5,000 people that were out there being part of this great activity that we had at the park. Thirdly, we have a business forum that is scheduled for this Thursday at 6 p.m., which is scheduled to be here at the City Council chamber. There will be a special guest that will be here, a high-level governmental official that will be here at the business forum this Thursday at 6 p.m. and he should be here between 6 or 7. Once he gets here, we have to shut the doors to conduct the business forum. So anyone that is willing to be part of it, you need to be here by 6 o'clock. By 6 p.m., those doors will be closed because we have a high governmental official that would be here with us at the business forum. Lastly, well, not so lastly, we are going to be scheduling budget workshops. I think the first one will be scheduled for next week on Thursday at 6 p.m. Then the second budget workshop will be scheduled on September, I believe, September 18th. So that will be the two budget workshops that we will be having in the city of North Miami. We ask everyone that have any inputs regarding the budgets, please feel free to come by. The budget will be online really soon. I believe each and every single city council members have not had the opportunity to meet with the manager about the budget. That's the reason why it has not been posted online yet, but the budget will be posted online real soon. I have not, I think, am I the only one left to be talked to about the budget, or have you met everyone from the council?
Yourself and Councilman Galvin.
Okay, so once we have seen the budget, then the next issue is we'll get it posted online, and that should happen real soon.
Yeah, from my standpoint, go ahead and post it, and we can still meet. I don't want meeting with me to hold up getting the document to the public.
Okay, but I really want to see it before we get that out to the public. So hopefully we can meet tomorrow. And then by Wednesday afternoon or Thursday morning, it should be online for the public to see, which I think we have our first budget workshop scheduled on September 10th.
Yes.
September 10th, which, so far, although all these years we've been hearing about, we're on shortfall, we are carrying a budget surplus of about $1 million without having to touch the Biscayne lending fundings. So I think that's all I have on my reports in terms of my council report. Mr. City Clerk, any reports from you?
Yeah, unfortunately, several.
Okay.
First item on my agenda is the election for the vice mayor. Look, you guys passed a resolution a couple of months ago. It was at one point automatically rotated. Right now, although Vice Mayor Marcellus carries the title legally, he's not. We have to have an election today, Mayor. And I guess I'll get a nomination.
Let's have an election now.
I'll nominate the name of Councilwoman Maurice Sterrell, even though she's not in the room.
Okay, we have a nomination for Councilwoman Sterrell. Any second?
I second that motion.
Mayor Pierce seconded. I'm just going to conduct a roll call if that's okay. Councilman Glenn?
No.
Councilman Galvin?
Yes.
Mayor Pierre?
Yes.
Councilman Marcellus?
Yes.
From here on out, Councilwoman will now be referred to as Vice Mayor Sterian. That's the first item. Thank you, Mayor and Council. The second item is regarding our board. Although there's several vacancies, the Board of Adjustment has some vacancies that the Mayor and Council submitted names for, and 2 other boards. So I'm just going to address it board by board. And I'm just going to go ahead and read out the names per board, and we can just move, second, and vote per board. With regards to Councilman Ben would like to appoint Michael McDermott to the Board of Adjustment Board. Michael McDermott has already been verified as being a current resident of the city of North Miami. Councilman Galvin, who has a vacancy on the Board of Adjustment Board, has reappointed his current appointee, Rosalind Phillip. She has been verified and is currently a resident of the city of North Miami. Mayor Andre Pierre has appointed Lucy Thundro to the Board of Adjustment Board. She has been verified and is a resident of the city of North Miami. The 2 alternates that were nominated was Charles Narcisse. He is currently on several other boards, and he has been verified and is a resident of the city of North Miami. And the second alternate was Dr. Pastor Enoch Millinen, and he too has been verified and is a resident of the city of North Miami. May I have a motion to approve the appointees?
Mr. Etienne, can we take those individually? I heard from somebody late today who'd like to be an alternate, and I'd like a chance to verify former city manager Clarence Patterson.
Okay, so let's do this. Let's just go ahead and we're going to leave the alternates for last, and we'll do that separately. The alternates.
What are we on that? I don't understand why I only get 1 appointment when Councilman Blaine has 2 appointments and Councilman Galvin has 2 appointments on the board. How does it work? Does the mayor get 1 appointment? Everybody else get 2 appointments on this board?
From what I was told, it's rotated. So at one point, Mayor, you had 2. At one point, Sterry had 2. At one point, everyone else had 1. But right now, you're right. As it reads, right now it's 2-2, and everyone else get 1 and 2 alternates. But from what I was told, it alternates. But to be honest with you, I've been here for roughly a year and a couple of months, and it hasn't alternated since I've been here.
Yeah, no, the way it happened, and maybe we do need to go back and look at it, because what would happen in the way we did it in the past is you've got several boards. You've got 30 boards. They come alphabetically, and we used to nominate everybody on the same night. So it would end at one point, like with me, and then the next board would start with the mayor, and then it would end with Glenn, and then the next board would start with Marcellus. And the way it would just sort of rotate through that process, somebody would end up with more appointees on a given board, and if somebody would end up with less, it was somewhat random. But that's what they mean by rotating. And just because we've gotten away from that big old procedure, we used to sit here for hours going through the board, one after one, blah, 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 blah. So, voting on each individual person.
So, Mayor, if you would like, what we can do, we can have the city attorney, redraft. I honestly, I wouldn't even know how that works, because that would mean, I don't even think you need a city attorney. I think a council vote would be sufficient to change that process again. But since I've been here, it hasn't rotated.
Okay, that's one. And who appoints the chair of each board in the city?
If I'm not mistaken, the board itself votes on who they want to be their sitting chair and vice chair.
Is that what the code allowed?
Honestly, Mayor, I don't know. I haven't read the code.
I'm going to look it up now.
That's the way historically it's been.
I understand the historical background. I just want to know what is the proper procedure in terms of what the code provides.
So would you want me to kind of look into all this, and we can make these appointments the next council meeting? Or
No, we're fine with the appointments. I think the only issues now, one is, the appointments in terms of some members having 2 and some members having 1. And number 2, basically the only 2 appointments that are left are the alternates.
Yeah.
And the alternates, so far, we have, what are the 2 names that we have for the alternates?
We have Charles Narcisse and Dr. Pastor Enoch Millinen.
Okay.
But I'm also interested in Clarence Patterson.
And Clarence Patterson.
Okay. So let's do the first one. Let's do Charles Nassif.
Okay, do you guys want to just get your appointments out the way, and then we can go one by one with the first and second?
Okay.
Okay, so the first three appointments, Michael Blaine appoints Michael McDermott, Galvin reappoints Rosalind Phillip, and Mayor Pierre appoints Lucy Thundro. Can I have a motion for that?
Move it. Second.
Okay. All opposed? Motion carries. Okay, so now the two alternates.
Charles Nassif.
Okay.
Can I have a motion for that?
I move Charles Nassif.
Any second?
I second it.
Okay. Anyone wishes to record a no? Charles Nassif has been appointed to the Board of Adjustment.
Number two, Dr. Pastor Enoch Millinan.
Okay, I move Pastor Enoch Millian.
Anyone seconds it?
Second it.
Has been seconded. Anyone wishes to record a no in
No.
regard to Board Pastor Enoch Millian?
No.
No.
Okay. The next one is Clarence Patterson.
Clarence Patterson. Now, this is the problem. We have not received an application from Clarence Patterson, but what we can do, what we've done before, we can get him appointed now, and then we can ask him to come into our office and submit an application. I know we changed that procedure, but if he gets appointed today, oh, by the way, his wife works in my department, so I'm sure we can get his application in.
He's also the former city manager.
Right. So okay. So we have Clarence Patterson. Can I have a motion for Clarence Oh, I'm sorry. But by the way, is it okay if we appoint him without him applying, and then we get him to apply retroactively?
From my standpoint, it is.
Okay.
I'll move Mr. Patterson's name.
Yeah, I second it.
So in that case, Councilman Galvin would have 3 appointments on that board. The mayor would have 1.
He's at large.
I know.
That's why we're all voting on it.
No, he's
That's
an
what I'm saying.
alternate.
But in that
He's-
case,
yeah,
you'll have 3 appointments, and I'll have 1. So I'd like to know what the procedure is. I mean, if you already have 2 appointments, at least I should have the opportunity to appoint 2 people on that board.
Just
So
random.
what is the procedure?
It's a random.
You
Yeah.
get
Okay.
a chance to vote right now on Mr. Patterson. If you vote him down, then we've got to find either a third person that we all agree on, or we
Yeah,
leave it open for now.
I think a better course of action, because I know that things have generally happened just as a matter of course, rather than following, code or resolution. There could be a resolution out there that addresses this issue. I would feel more comfortable if you allow me some time to determine what the procedure is. We can come back and then
Okay.
follow whatever that
Then
is.
the last alternate, we'll appoint that at the next meeting.
Right.
then.
The only person who hasn't been appointed is the last alternate. Okay. So now, with regards to the library board, Mayor Pierre, you have a vacancy on that board. We had an application by Amanda DeSoup. She lives in the city of North Miami. May I have a motion to appoint that appointee?
I make that motion to appoint Amanda.
Can I have a second?
Second it.
Anyone wishes to record a no?
Measure
Amanda has
passes
been appointed.
4-0. And last one is the Youth Opportunity Board. Councilman Marcellus has a vacancy. We received an application from Philip Bien-Aimé, who lives in the city of North Miami. We have a valid North Miami address for him. May I have a motion to appoint this appointee to this particular board?
Which is the board?
This is the Youth Opportunity Board, and this is Marcellus' appointment.
I make a motion.
I second it.
Anyone wishes to record a no? Hearing none, motion passed.
Okay. That completes the boards, and so I'm sure the city attorney would address the Board of Adjustment last alternate
Okay.
in the future. And the last announcement that I have,
Mr. City Clerk, what about the Business Development Board?
well, we didn't receive any names for that, but if we don't have any names for the Business Development Board. But if the mayor or council wants
Okay.
to submit a name, we can do what we did before and retroactively obtain the applications. But as of right now, we haven't. No names were submitted to the clerk's office. But if the mayor and/or the council have someone in mind, just let us know and we'll get to it.
Okay, no problem.
Cool?
Okay, what about the University Relations Board?
Every other board, same thing. Until we receive names or nominees, we can't really vet them. And so if you have a name right now that you want to submit and put on the board, that's fine, and we can then retroactively get applications from them and make sure they live in the city.
Okay.
Like what we've been doing lately, we've been getting the names first, verifying them, and then placing them on the boards.
Beside the universities that are automatically have an appointment on this board, there are 5 different positions that are open.
That's correct.
You have Mary Saint-Hilaire. Anyone opposed of her being reappointed to the board?
She's on the board now.
She's on the board now. Her term
Her
has
term
expired. Okay.
She is...
Which one?
She's Mary Saint-Hilaire. She's a North Miami resident.
Yes,
Okay.
I think she was my appointee.
Okay, Marcellus made a motion to appoint her to the University Relations Board. Seconded. Anyone wishes to oppose? Hearing none, motion passed. We have Bonnie Schwartzbaum.
I'll nominate Bonnie Schwartzbaum.
I second that. Anyone wishes to record a no? Bonnie Schwartzbaum has been reappointed to the board. You have Marie Philogene.
I'll second I'll nominate Marie Philogene.
Marie
for
Philogene.
that large seat.
A large seat, and I second that. Anyone wishes to record a no? Hearing none, motion passed. I would like to appoint Amanda Dusap to the University Relations Board.
For the open at large?
Open at large.
Second that.
Okay, has been second. Anyone wishes to record a no? Hearing none, motion passed. Then there's one vacancy on the board now.
Susie Blumen is also on that board. I'd like to reappoint her. She's also an at large.
What's her name?
Susie Blumen. She was speaking here earlier
second
tonight.
Okay, anyone wishes to record a no? Okay, Susie has been appointed to the board. Okay. We have the Youth Opportunity Board. We have Maxine Haber. Her term has expired. She's at large. Anyone wishes to reappoint her to the board?
So moved.
So move. I second
Second.
that. Okay. Anyone wishes to record a no? Hearing none, motion passed. The Senior Citizen Advisory Board, Sandra Dioli, come.
I'll nominate. Oh no, she's your.
She's
That's
my
your spot.
appointment. I reappoint her to the board.
I'm sorry, which board was that, Mayor?
Senior Citizens.
Citizens Advisory Board.
Got it.
I'll second the mayor's nomination.
Okay. Anyone wishes to record a no? Hearing none. Motion passed. Kenny Each is your appointment. Vice Mayor Marcellus.
Yes.
Kenny Each is
I
on.
reappointed.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
On which board, Mayor?
I think it's the Planning Commission.
The Planning Commission, that's correct.
Kenny Each has been reappointed to Planning Commission. Anyone wishes to record a no? Hearing none, motion passed. Kevin Seifrey, term expired in June 2012. I reappointed Kevin Seifrey to the Planning Commission.
Second.
Okay, anyone wishes to record a no? Hearing none, motion passed. Councilman Marcellus, you have Jean Castor. His term expired on June 12, 2012. Do you wish to appoint Mr. Castor to the Planning Commission?
Yes, I will.
Okay, Mr. Castor has been reappointed to the Planning Commission. Anyone wishes to record a, I second that. Anyone wishes to record a no? Hearing none, motion passed. You have Community Redevelopment Agency. You have 3 that their terms will expire by the time we meet at the next council meeting. We have Clint Bauer, who is a resident. Can I get a motion to reappoint Clint Bauer to the Community Redevelopment Agency Committee?
So moved.
Okay, seconded. Anyone wishes to record or no? Hearing none, motion passed. You have Mark Wallen. Glenn, this is your appointment?
Yeah, appoint them.
Okay, we appoint Mark Wallen to the Community Redevelopment Agency. Anyone wishes to I second that. Anyone wishes to record or no? Hearing none, motion passed. You have Councilman Galvin. You have Armando Vital, who's a resident. Would you like to reappoint him to the CRA?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Second.
Has been seconded. Anyone wishes to record or no? Motion passed. Councilman Marcellus, you have Roslyn Philip. Would you like to reappoint him to the CRA?
Yes, we appoint her.
Okay, has been reappointed to the CRA. Anyone wishes to motion made, seconded. Anyone wishes to record or no? Okay, motion passed. We have Business Development Board. You have Paul Bartel. who is a appointee from 7th Avenue. His term expired last year. Anyone wishes to reappoint him to the Business Development Board?
Who's?
Paul Bertel is just said 7th Avenue.
Is he at large? Sorry, my computer's frozen.
It
Who's
doesn't.
appointed him?
It doesn't say. There was Business Development Board. Basically, they pick from different areas.
Okay,
I'll
move it.
Okay, it has been moved, seconded. Anyone wishes to record or no?
Listen,
Motion.
you guys know regarding the Business Development Board, we have to make sure that they're currently still conducting business in the city.
I
So
know
unless
that
if
Paul
you guys
is.
know for a fact that they are, then
Yeah,
I'll
Paul
take your
is.
word for
Yeah,
it.
he's on Northwest 7th Avenue, lower numbers.
Okay, so who moved it? You did, Mayor?
I think Councilman Galvin moved it and seconded by Vice Mayor. We have Donald Cressley, another 7th Avenue. His term expired last year.
Second.
Councilman Glenn moved him, seconded by Councilman Galvin. Anyone wishes to record or no? Motion passed. You have Deborah Mitchell, which is, it says Biscayne, but she's right there on West Dixie on 124th.
Move it.
Yeah, but I mean, it looks like, is that the way it's described? Biscayne.
Right. Well, you need to have businesses in certain parts. It needs to be diverse. So if she's no longer in Biscayne, you guys got to find a business that's on Biscayne.
I think Deborah has been in this area for at least maybe 7
years.
think I was the chairman for the Greater North Miami Chamber of Commerce when she moved in that area. So
Yeah,
she
she's still
must
in
have been
Dixie.
here for like 8 or 9 years. So
Probably 7.
it says Biscayne. I don't know. Maybe west of 7th Avenue is Biscayne, and east of 7th Avenue is Biscayne, and
Dixie.
Yeah, maybe West Dixie.
If you guys want to appoint her, you guys can just appoint her. I don't think it would be wrong.
Well, we'll appoint Debbie Mitchell.
Second.
Okay. Anyone wishes to record or no? Motion passed. You have Blanca Cobo. Blanca Cobo is Northwest 7th Avenue. It says Biscayne here.
Yeah.
She's on 7th Avenue.
She's been on 7th Avenue maybe more than 10 years.
I'll
Same
motion
building.
her pending verification that this is
Yeah, second
accurate.
it.
Okay. You have McCollin CBD. What is that?
You guys didn't vote, Mayor, on Banco. It was moved by Galvin, seconded by Blaine.
Anyone wishes to record or no? Motion passed. What is CBD?
Central Business District.
Well, I think that's where you would find Deborah Mitchell. You have Mark Warland. His term expired last year. Anyone wishes to appoint him?
I appoint him.
Okay, has been made and seconded. Anyone wishes to record or no? Motion passed. We have Ron Wilson from the North Miami Chamber of Commerce. His
I
term
appoint him.
expired 3 months ago. Make the motion made. Second that motion. Anyone wishes to record or no? Motion passed, and that is all we have with the Business Development Board. I don't know which board is this, but I think it's the museum.
The MoCA
museum
board?
The Museum of Contemporary Art
We don't
board.
normally deal with that.
Okay.
Their
Well,
terms-
who makes the appointment? Because 3 of the members, their term has expired, and 2 other members, their term will expire
Usually
in
Bonnie.
2 months.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, the
Bonnie
way
takes
their
care of it.
charter or governing rules are structured, they set their own board and not the council members. So
Okay.
unless we figured out
It's out
that
of our
they,
hands.
yeah, they
Okay,
usually
can
do
we,
that.
somebody please, Mr. City Manager, get a hold of Mrs. Clearwater and let her know that some members, their term has expired, and to do the reappointment so we could update our information on.
Yes, Mayor.
Okay. We have the Health Facilities Authority. You have Jessica Austin. I'm sorry, not Jessica Austin. She's there till 2015. We have Amanda Bellis. Her term. It says her term expired in 2006, and I'm the one that made the appointment in 2006. I was somewhere in the Caribbean drinking Cuba Libre, so I could not have made that appointment.
Probably the mayor before you made that appointment, which was Kevin Burns.
Okay, but they have my name on there
Yeah.
as making that
That board
appointment.
hasn't
mistake.
even met
Met
like that
in
since
decades.
then. We might look at sunsetting that board. I literally don't think that's probably, you know what I mean? They haven't met in
Okay.
a decade.
Well, Miss City Attorney, can you look at that board and let us know if this is something that we can vacate? Okay. Has the Floodplain Management Committee, Planning Committee, Mr. City Manager, is this board still meeting? Because it looks like a lot of people were appointed back in 2000, and since then, not much movement have been made, and most of the appointments were made by city managers.
Mayor, they still do meet. I think that's one that Myrna Pavlak is on.
No, we don't have Myrna Pavlak. We have Dr. Jim Trockton, we have Carol Keys, we have Maxine Calloway, we have Jeff Geimer, we have Adam Ghani, we have Tanya Wilson Sejour.
Yes, they still meet.
Okay, but it's showing that the appointments were made by previous city managers. So can we have it reflected that the current city manager make those appointments?
Yeah. City manager makes the appointments.
Okay. Community Relations Board, Mr. Councilman Vice Mayor Marcellus, you do have a vacancy on there. It looks like. Is this board still meeting?
Which one?
Community Relations Board.
The floodplain.
Mr. City Clerk?
Oh, I don't know, man. I just hear, I don't know.
I never heard
They
of
meet
it.
very sporadically,
Yeah.
and they complain that they don't get enough to talk about or get enough to meet about.
What do they even talk about?
That, well, therein lies their own problem. But we might ask staff to have some discussion with them about coming up with some substantive ideas, because that's why they're not meeting. I hear from a couple of my appointees who want to be involved, but they're like, well, what is there for us to talk about? And I give them some ideas, but they're too hot for them to want to talk about. They want the less controversial stuff. But if they don't meet, let's sunset them. You know what I mean?
What is the board about?
It's supposed to talk about divisive community issues before they become divisive. This is where you have discussions about things that are gnawing at the community before they boil over in some sort of.
Well, the mayor's done such a good job,
Yeah, but
Yeah,
genuinely, there are things they can legitimately talk about in this community, and they've not
Is this the
wanted
Community
to.
Relations
Community
Board?
Relations Board.
Yeah, they do meet. I know that the owners from Kiosco, they're part of it. We have a member from the Community Relations Board from Miami-Dade County that also come here, and they have been meeting monthly. It's on one of the Thursdays. I can't recall which one. I think the third Thursday of each month. But they have been very proactive. They've had training here in the council chambers. We've been a part of that training, so that is a very active board.
Okay. No, they're not that active, though. One of my appointees I've refused her resignation multiple times, because I keep saying, if you don't have anything to talk about, y'all need to come up with some stuff to talk about. I've given a wish list of things, and I'll be glad to invite myself to their next meeting. But if they're meeting, they're going through the motions to call a quorum and then adjourn. That name the last hot button item they talked about. I can't. So
they've had training. I think the last issue that they dealt with was an issue that involved the county that could have spilled over into North Miami, but they have taken the time to provide training because there was no hot issue in North Miami.
There's no hot issues in North Miami?
Well, that was brought to their attention. So we will engage them in future meetings.
I'd like to know about four chickens.
I think that's about it. Except
Can we have Glenn? I'm sorry. Can we have Glenn make a decision on the advisory committee on the disabled? If you have someone in mind, that's on the front page.
Okay.
Do you have anyone in mind for that,
No.
Councilman Glenn?
Okay.
Okay.
All right, just one of my appointments is going to expire on the CRA, which is Kenneth Each. I'd like to reappoint him again to the CRA. Second, and anyone wishes to argue? No. Hearing none, motion passed. Okay, Mr. City Clerk, any additional reports from you?
No, I just wanted to make a quick announcement regarding the office of the clerk. The last day to register to vote is upcoming. I don't have the date in front of me. Anyone can come in. We have applications. Members of the city residents of the city, if you need applications to register to vote so that you can vote on the upcoming November election, please come by the office. You can fill your application out, and we'll get it mailed for you. Second of all, Alberta Patterson, our new hire at the office of the city clerk, is spearheading a remarkable project in which the city of North Miami is going to begin conducting marriage ceremonies. We're going to begin issuing marriage certificates, which will be a remarkable revenue generated. It's going to generate revenue, that particular project. A couple other cities, that's what they do in their cities. Instead of individuals going to the courthouse at North Day, they can come here. We have plenty of notaries there. So the office of the city clerk is making remarkable movements. We have done exceptionally well, despite my amnesty program to business owners who are behind on their business tax receipts. We have done a phenomenal job collecting business tax receipt taxes, and we've done a great job there. Although our staff increased by about 2 part-time employees, we're generating revenue like we did before and even better, and we have a surplus in our budget of roughly $80,000. And so we've done exceptionally well. We processed way more passport applications this year, and a month before our budget rolls over, we're dealing with a roughly $80,000 surplus from the office of the city clerk. And so I want to thank Bertie and, of course, Jackie and Lewis back there for running such an exceptional department. I think we're doing a remarkable job, and I want to thank them for it and acknowledge that.
Thank you. Oh, good job. But okay, no problem. I mean, do you charge to perform the ceremony?
Yeah, just like we, for example, the passport applications, we make $25 for every application we process, and we generate lots of money from that. And it would be something very similar to what other cities are doing. So if you come in, we'll give you the marriage certificate. We have notaries there, qualified notaries who can do so, and we would charge a fee for it, and the city would generate that revenue. And because we basically have 2 real municipal clerks, and they're doing a remarkable job running that department down there. And it's probably, I don't know about any other department, but the clerk's department is the only department I can think of that generates revenue for the city. I'm talking $300,000-400,000, and we have a $80,000 surplus. And of course, I think that's remarkable, and it's because of Jackie, Lewis, and Bertie down there. They're doing a remarkable job there. And so we're going to start generating more money with the marriage certificate. So they're doing a great job down there. And if you guys ever come down on any regular work day, you're going to see the lines at the clerk's office. They're really providing a remarkable service down there to the residents of North Miami, from the east side, the west side, the central. So they're doing a remarkable job running that department.
So, Mike, how much are you going to charge for the manager?
Well, that's something you guys got to determine. Once we get that program up and going, the mayor and the council decides what the fees will be, and then we'll go from there. But we just have to get it going. Bertie right now is spearheading that project. I'm hoping we can get it up and running within 2 months. And the other 2 part-timers we have on there, I'm currently working with the city manager to change their status from contract to regular, because once we do that, they're going to still get paid the same. They're going to still be part-time North Miami residents working there. Only difference is we can certify them as passport agents and get them let them become notaries, so we can just kind of move that process down there so the lines won't be too long. So they're doing a great job down there, and again, I want to acknowledge the great work they're doing, and they deserve the acknowledgement.
Find out what the county fee is for marriage.
We will. We'll take care of it. Bertie's going to take care of all that. She's going to spearhead it. Once we have it up and going, we have a document regarding it. We're going to discuss it with the city manager. We're going to bring it before the council so you guys can decide how much you want to charge the residents for this service. But this is definitely a service that we're going to bring to the residents here.
Yeah, whatever the county charges.
Do you provide notary services at this moment in the city clerk?
What we can, and we were thinking about what we're trying to do, and we have to get these 2 part-timers to become regular part-timers. They're going to be notaries as well, and we're going to start providing free notary services for anyone in the city of in the city or outside the city. They can come and get any documents notarized for free. Of course, once they have the proper identification, we're going to also start that service as well. So anyone who wants to get documents notarized in the city clerk's office, you come down there, we'll do it free of charge. The only thing that's holding us up, we have to change the status of the 2 part-timers that I have. Their pay's going to be the same. Everything's going to change. I'm going to stay the same. We just have to change their status so we can get them to become notaries, and people can come in and get documents notarized for free at the clerk's office.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Ms. City Attorney, any reports from you?
No, sir.
Okay. Mr. City Manager, any reports from you?
Yes, Mayor. Briefly, I know that the issue with some of our city facilities was brought up, but we're happy to say as a result of the Biscayne Landing contract, we are due $50,000, which will be toward the restoration of the Gwen Margolis Center. So we will be getting that money and moving for the restoration of that center. So we're glad about that. Also,
I'm sorry. You said that money's coming from the Biscayne Landing money?
Yes.
no, it was in the contract that the developer.
contract in the Biscayne.
Yes.
Okay. I didn't-
Nothing in our budget this year. Currently, dealing with the 17.5 for next year has anything to do with the Biscayne Landing budget. So we're happy to report that. I know that we had a group of employees that came up and had indicated losses over the past 2 years. I will tell you that we are making every effort to attempt to negotiate with the white and blue collar. So I appreciate you all not commenting on that tonight and allowing management to negotiate that. They made mention of approximately up to 20% of a loss. Some of that was dealing with furlough days, pay decreases, and longevity. But I will say that at least there is plans within the next 2 weeks to provide back at least 5% of that loss each year, total to be about $600,000 each year. So there is a plan to provide at least 5% of that loss back for each of those years back to the employee, and we're happy to say that none of that will come from Biscayne Landing. So I don't think that the mayor and council would object to that in us doing that, because that restoration will come out of the city's budget, but nothing from Biscayne Landings. And again, that's
appreciate that very
5% of that loss, that total to be about $600,000 each year. It's about $1.2 million or so. So we do have every plans to provide that back in the next couple of weeks, hopefully very quickly to the unions if we're able to negotiate.
Mr. Mayor, may I jump in? I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
What do we do next year then? When everybody's salary has been restored to this level for the next 2013-2014 budget, how are we going to address those new staff, those new salary levels? I'm worried. It was rightfully brought up at the town hall meeting I had at the coffee house.
Sure.
Restoring is great, but then what do you do in the
We have
second
more
year?
income.
Do you have to raise your taxes
We have
to
more
meet
income.
the new salary level? Are you creating a new hurdle for yourself in the future?
Councilman, we're not, but when we give the budget presentation, we would be more than happy to cover that. But even into next year, it's already covered without going into Biscayne Landing money.
Right.
So, but we can discuss that further into detail, and I think it would ask those questions.
Okay.
But we do plan, and I think that we do have the consensus of the council that we should at least move forward in the next couple of weeks of giving them back that at least that 5%.
Absolutely.
Each of those 2 years that they lost, 600,000 one year and 600,000 another year, to give that back to them, and then being able to move forward. So I wanted to at least bring that up. Also, Mayor, if you wanted to address at this council meeting or at the next one, we do have the issue dealing with Yom Kippur as to whether or not how you want to address that council meeting on the second Tuesday of September.
This is September 10th?
Yeah.
September 11th?
No, the
I think it's the
24th.
24th.
Okay.
If you want to wait till then, or
Yeah.
if you,
We'll meet here on September 11th, and
And
we
you
could
can discuss it.
discuss that. I mean, definitely we'll do something about it.
okay.
Okay?
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, if we moved it to the Thursday of that week or something like that, or at least given some sort of out to anybody who's on the agenda. Well, I mean, Councilman Blinn is Jewish, so I don't, being here on the...
Yeah, I won't be here. We need to change the date, too.
Okay.
Yeah,
You can make it
maybe it's
Wednesday,
like
you can make it Thursday.
or something. Or Wednesday, yeah.
It doesn't matter to me. I mean, if,
Doesn't matter to me
or
either.
another issue, maybe there's not much item on the agenda, then we could postpone,
Right.
put
There's
all the
nothing of
items on that-
immediate
on that.
nature.
So on September 11th, let's find out what we have going on, then we could make that decision then.
Yeah, thank you.
I have a young man who is a member of the Board of Adjustment. He would like to be reappointed, Mr. Joseph Haber. I make a motion to reappoint him to the Board of Adjustment.
So moved.
Second, yeah.
Okay, has been seconded. Anyone wishes to record or no? Okay, thank you. I guess Mr. Joe Haber has been appointed to a Board of Adjustment. Can you have that reflected with the city clerk, because I think he's going back and forth. Thank you so much,
Motion
everyone,
to
for
adjourn.
being here. Motion to adjourn. Everyone, anyone seconded? Anyone opposed? Hearing none. Motion passed. Thank you. Good night. Good night.
It's not so bad. 11:20.
11, yeah, that's early.